Hello everyone, welcome back to today's lesson. Here is a very simple question for today. Do you know what is a cat and what is a dog? Apparently, most if not all of us do. Both are cute, furry animals that we usually have in our houses as pets, right? Well, you can tell the answers immediately because I used the words cat and dog individually in my question. Now, what if I ask you, do you know what raining cats and dogs means, given that you have never heard of this phrase? Well, you could be imagining a rain that contains cats and dogs pelting you from the sky, but it's anything but that. This phrase just simply means it is raining heavily, and this phrase is called an idiom. So an idiom technically means a phrase or group of words that have a different meaning from the meaning you would get from the individual words. And idioms are very common in everyday English conversation to native speakers. Which is why today we are going to learn 10 of the most useful English idioms you would need. It's raining cats and dogs. Upon first listening, a rain that pours down cats and dogs may sound absurd. But when someone says the idiom, it's raining cats and dogs, not surprisingly as you can tell, they do not really mean there are cats and dogs in the rain. They just want to say, it is raining very heavily. It is raining a lot outside. This idiom is a very common and easy to use expression to describe rain, so make sure to use it like a native. It's raining cats and dogs. It's raining cats and dogs. It's raining cats and dogs.
It's raining cats and dogs out there. It's raining cats and dogs out there.
It is raining cats and dogs out there. It is raining cats and dogs out there.
Break a leg. When someone tells you to break a leg, do not think that they want you to break your own leg, which is very rude and sounds kinda criminally illegal. In fact, they just want to wish you good luck and success before you start doing something, especially before a performance. For instance, if your friend is taking an exam tomorrow, you might say break a leg to wish them success. Break a leg. Break a leg. Break a leg.
Break a leg! Break a leg!
Break a leg. Break a leg.
Blow off some steam. When you meet someone who is frustrated out of exhaustion, anger, or sorrow, you might want to cheer them up by asking them out to hang out, like going to the cinema or going to a restaurant to enjoy some good food. You can use this idiom to do so, as it means to do something to relieve stress and release strong emotions and bad energy. For example, if your friend is feeling depressed, you can say, let's take a walk together to blow off some steam. Or if you are angry about something, you can say to yourself, I'll listen to a nice song to blow off some steam. Blow off some steam. Blow off some steam. Blow off some steam.
You want to blow off some steam? You want to blow off some steam?
Let's go blow off some steam. Let's go blow off some steam.
Be one's cup of tea. If you like or are good at something, don't just say so. Instead, to sound like a native, say that it is your cup of tea. On the contrary, if you dislike or are not very good at something, then it is not your cup of tea. This idiom is usually used in negative statements to indicate that you do not want to or do not like to do something. For example, if you dislike going out in the rain, say, "Going out in the rain is not really my cup of tea." It's not my cup of tea. It's not my cup of tea. It's not my cup of tea.
Frasier is not my cup of tea. Frasier is not my cup of tea.
Fighting is not my cup of tea. Fighting is not my cup of tea.
Be a piece of cake. Like most people, cake is one of my favorite foods because it is so sweet and delicious. And the most enjoyable part about eating cake is that it is so easy that you don't even need a spoon or a chopstick. And just like eating cake, if something is very easy to do, you can always say, "It is just a piece of cake." For example, if you find attracting customers to your products is easy, you can say, "Attracting customers to my products is a piece of cake." A piece of cake. A piece of cake. A piece of cake.
Tonight's gonna be a piece of cake. Tonight's gonna be a piece of cake. Yeah, it's a piece of cake. Yeah, it's a piece of cake.
Beat around the bush. Have you ever been bothered by a person who always wants to avoid talking about the main topic, the main points of a conversation, or the really pertinent thing that needs to be discussed? Then you should tell them to stop beating around the bush and get right to the point, since this idiom means discussing unimportant matters that are unrelated. Beat around the bush. Beat around the bush. Beat around the bush.
Don't beat around the bush, Leonard. Don't beat around the bush, Leonard.
Alice, you're beating around the bush. Alice, you're beating around the bush.
Make a long story short. In most cases, when listening to a really long story, you would just want to hear a summary and some main points of the story, as that's usually all you can remember and understand after the story is over. In cases where your friend is telling a very long story, you can simply tell them to sum it up by saying, "Just make the long story short." Or in cases where you want to avoid explaining something in a very lengthy, hard to understand manner, you can always say, "To make a long story short," and then proceed to your main points. For example, to make a long story short, I met Tony and we decided to go to the game together. Make a long story short. Make a long story short. Make a long story short.
I'll make a long story short for you. I'll make a long story short for you.
Come on, Loki, make a long story short. Come on, Loki, make a long story short.
Call it a day. After you have finished your work for the day and want to rest, you might say, "Let's call it a day." As this idiom means to stop what you are doing because you do not want to do it anymore or feel that you have done enough. This expression can also be used after you have finished a vacation, hanging out with friends, pretty much anything. After 5 hours of having fun at the concert, we thought it was time to call it a day. Call it a day. Call it a day. Call it a day.
Let's call it a day, guys. Let's call it a day, guys.
I'm gonna call it a day. I'm gonna call it a day.
Pull yourself together. At times you will find yourself struggling to remain calm in unpleasant or terrifying situations, like moments before an interview or before an upcoming exam. Tell yourself, just pull yourself together, as this idiom means to control yourself, to regain focus and concentration. You can also use this expression to calm your friends down when they are nervous or angry. You must be very nervous at this moment, I get that, but you need to pull yourself together if you want to succeed. Pull yourself together. Pull yourself together. Pull yourself together.
Pull yourself together. Pull yourself together.
Pull yourself together. Pull yourself together.
Cost an arm and a leg. If you find something that is too expensive to purchase and are surprised by the price, you say it costs an arm and a leg. This expression is technically an exaggeration of saying something is so expensive that you could not afford it, but it is not going to actually make you lose your arm and leg. I would love to buy a house by the beach, but it would cost an arm and a leg. Cost an arm and a leg. Cost an arm and a leg. Cost an arm and a leg.
This campaign is costing us an arm and a leg. This campaign is costing us an arm and a leg.
And it won't cost you an arm and a leg. And it won't cost you an arm and a leg.
Now that we have covered 10 of the most useful English idioms, try to apply them to your daily conversations and remember that you don't want to use an idiom without really understanding what context it is for, to avoid miscommunication which might embarrass yourself and cause harm to the conversation you are in. Thank you for watching this video up to the very end. And if you find the video useful, please hit like, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more videos. Also, comment down below any topic you would love to watch in the next videos. See you next time.